Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Lester Kitchen show. Today we are talking about the topic schools out, avoid the summer write-off. Now, this is really, really important this time of year because schools have broken up, kids are out off, and you've got holidays, lots of temptation coming up and a change of routine. And what can often happen with people who have yo-yoed on the scales and a very stop-start is that summer just becomes a total write-off and we end up way heavier than we'd like to be, and any dreams of making progress over that time just fall away very, very quickly. So this episode is for you if you are a parent who has got kids now being off school and is struggling with that routine and knows that they are going to be starting on a bit of a downward spiral over the summer holidays. Now, it might be lots of fun stuff, but ultimately for your fat loss goal, for your ability to feel like you're in control of your weight, this might be a bit of the starting point of a 6-week spiral where your progress slips away. Any progress that you've made so far this year slips away. And also as well, you start to maybe take some steps back. So this episode is going to learn how to get ahead of that and stop that from happening. Okay, we are going to go with first off. So why does that happen? Why does summer become a write-off for a lot of people? And even if you're not a parent, a big part is going to be that your routine typically changes a little bit over summer. So definitely, obviously, much more relevant for parents. But the school run's gone, the pickup from school's gone. That typical Monday to Friday routine has changed, and when our routines change, our habits change, then we often find it difficult to stick to things more. And the reason for that is we have to now make conscious decisions when they were previously unconscious or really ingrained habits. So if you were in a habit of getting to the gym twice a week after you drop the kids off on the school run and before you start work later on the afternoon, let's just say, then that was something that was almost like an automatic, a default. And now you've removed that school run, you've kind of broken the pattern. And what happens when we have to make decisions is that draws our energy, that draws our bandwidth, our and leads us to decision fatigue. And when we're making decisions when we are tired or we're just overwhelmed, we'll often revert to the lower level decision, which might be to skip the gym, which might be to grab the food that's probably not ideal for us in a fat loss phase. So the routine disappearing is a big challenge. The next one's going to be social calendar is probably going to go up in summer. So you've got more events, you have more things going on, you're taking more trips away with the family, whether that's a day out or a few days away or a big summer holiday. These things can make our social calendar feel really, really busy. And typically what happens with those, not always, but typically there's going to be some more food, and typically it's higher calorie, super tasty food that we're bringing in. And it might be as well if you drink some drinks with friends or family, again, which adds more calories and takes us away from our typical eating pattern, which might be something that was working really well for you up to this point. Or if you're already struggling with your eating and it's a bit all over the place, then the additional social events are going to make it even harder to stick to. The next challenge is going to be that it's almost like a cultural permission slip to kind of go off the rails a little bit. It's that, oh, come on, it's summer, just enjoy yourself. It's that kind of mindset. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the challenge is when it lasts 6 weeks. So the challenge is over summer when we have this, oh, just go on, just enjoy yourself. It's summer. The kids are off. Let's make the most of it. When that runs into a 6-week period, then all of a sudden we've not only not made progress towards our fat loss goal, but we might have gained half a stone, who knows, a stone, if we really, really go wild over the summer holidays. The next one is going to be the holiday trap. So most people are taking holidays either coming soon or maybe towards the end of August, but ultimately we've got a summer holiday coming up, and it might be the thing that you've built up to for the whole year. It might be the highlight of your year. And for me, definitely holidays with family are definitely up there with some of the absolute best times of year. And the challenge that a lot of people have is to think, well, I've got holiday in 3 weeks, so there's no point starting anything. And then when they go on holiday, they have maybe a bit of a blowout. And again, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, to make sure you really enjoy the holiday and switch off and come back recharged. But then they come back and then they feel kind of awful, they feel groggy. They've not only had the week's holiday away, but they've also had the 2 or 3 weeks beforehand where they thought, what's the point? And they ended up eating rubbish and not training. So they've got 4 weeks maybe worth of bad habits and sluggish momentum and a feeling of, I'm not making progress and I'm not feeling great about myself. Then they get back from holiday and it's really hard to get the ball rolling again. Momentum is a huge thing in all walks of life, really, but definitely in fat loss and making progress towards your health and fitness goals. Momentum is a huge thing. So if you want to make progress, seeing changes on the scales, feeling more toned and confident, then you want to build some momentum into your exercise and nutrition, and that's when it becomes much easier. So if we have that mindset of, oh, I've got a holiday coming up in 2 weeks, so what's the point of starting now? Again, that's where the summer holidays turns into a complete write-off, really. And I've definitely done this before as well. Holidays, obviously the biggest one during summer. I've got a 4-year-old daughter and an almost 2-year-old son, but even before having them, I mean, the summer holidays were when typically you'd go away or around that time. And yeah, I've definitely had that point where I thought, oh well, do you mean I'm 2 or 3 weeks away from kind of that holiday? There's no point starting anything. And sometimes you also think, well, I've only got 2 or 3 weeks left until holiday. What changes can I make in 2 or 3 weeks? So you take your foot off the gas really early, and then all of a sudden you find that, oh, do you mean I've actually had a really poor 2 or 3 weeks, and I feel heavier, I feel slower, I feel just down and mood wise as well, because I've had 2 weeks of maybe drifting and not really doing much progressively. So ultimately that can have a big impact, and that's definitely something I've experienced as well. So the reality check around this is, what we want to do first of all is just recognize that this summer might not be your best fat loss window. And for a lot of people, that's the case, because when the kids are off, when they're normally at school, that does make it harder. When you've got more social events coming up, that does make it harder. When you've got a holiday abroad, which is something you've maybe saved up for and look forward to for the entire of the year so far, and you want to really go and enjoy it, then again, that makes it harder to lose fat during this 6 weeks holidays. But at the same time, we can accept that, and we can say, okay, this might not be my best fat loss window, but that doesn't mean that I've got to write off the last 6, 12 weeks, or maybe the entire year's progress so far over this 6 weeks holiday. And we can shift that mindset to maybe maintenance is a win, or maybe 2 out of 3 weeks is good weeks, and then 1 week I've got as a bit of a wiggle room, as a maintenance week. And again, that's a smart strategy. That's not giving up. That's not going too easy on yourself. That's not taking the easy way out. That's just being smart, because over the course of the year, if you expect to be on it 52 weeks of the year, you're living in cuckoo land. You've got no chance of doing that, because ultimately that's not how we work. And that's not, whether we do that consciously, whether we're going to consciously burn out, or whether that's going to happen to us externally because life happens, or whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Ultimately, we're not always going to be on it and having great weeks, and that's what we need to recognize. And it's okay to do that. And the best people who are going to have the great results, the ones who you're looking at and thinking they're in amazing shape, I wish I was more like them, they're going to be the ones who can navigate these challenges better than you can, because they go on holiday, they have times where the kids aren't sleeping great, or they're not sleeping great, or they're ill, or work's gone really crazy and there's loads of stress through the roof, or you've got just there's loads of things that can be going on. But the people who are in great shape, who you're looking up to and admiring and thinking like, oh God, I wish I was in that shape, they don't have different circumstances you. They've just got a better way of dealing with them. And one of the ways is definitely going to be that mindset of, okay, like, this isn't going to be a good week for me because the kids are ill and my sleeping's terrible. But what they don't allow that to do is allow that to completely derail their entire week. They might just be smart with it and adjust their strategies and adjust their priorities. And that's what I do with clients. That's how I get clients to get fantastic results and keep them long term and keep making progress, not just get a quick 4-week win and then the burnout. What we do is we're looking at every week, okay, what's coming up and do we need to adjust the plan? So if their goal is to get in 3 times a week, but work's gone crazy, family life's gone crazy as well, then it might be, okay, can we get in once a week in the gym and get in a couple of walks on a morning before the family wakes up? Like, that could be a smart adjustment to the strategy. It's not taking the easy road. It's not giving up. It's being smart with what your capacity is at that time. And that's going to allow you to get through that tough week and you've maintained, or you might have still made a little bit of progress, but let's just say you just maintain. Then the next week, when you get back to normal, you've not lost any ground, and you feel great for that, because you're like, hey, do you mean I handled that well? I handled that really well, because previously that week would have derailed me. I'd have given up entirely, and I'd have smashed a tub of Ben and Jerry's every night and got McDonald's drive-thrus everywhere, every day on the morning driving to work. But last week, I didn't. I was able to be smart with it. I gave myself a little bit of leeway when I needed to, maybe prioritize trying to get in better sleep and cut back on the training, maybe simplified my nutrition a bit. But ultimately, I managed to get through that week. And that's really what you want to do. If you want to feel in control of your weight, we need to feel in control of ourselves in the face of external circumstances that you can't control, such as work, family, social life, all that kind of stuff. So that's what we'll be looking at as well, as a bit of a mindset shift, a reality check. Everyone's got these circumstances, you just need a better way to handle it. So what the fix is, so what we can do is over this 6-week period is look to re-establish some routines in this new situation. So the school run's gone, so any habits that were built around that, we now need to reevaluate that. So if you used to go Monday and Thursday to the gym after the school run, or you went for a run Monday, Tuesday after the school run, we need to then rebuild that strategy, because the trigger for that habit, the school run, is now gone. So what are you going to do? What are you going to build that around? So now you might shift it to, okay, as soon as I finish work, I'm going to go straight to the gym on Monday and Thursday instead. I don't have that school run trigger on the morning, but I'm going to adjust my plan. So I've now built it around a different part of my day. I've built a different routine. And for that 6-week summer holiday break, that's what you might be doing. The next one is look to set some non-negotiables in your life, and again, adjust these week to week, but look ahead and think, right, okay, what have I got coming up, and try and set some non-negotiables. So if you were wanting to get in the gym 3 times a week, if you wanted to do whatever, you might need to adjust those and think, okay, well, I genuinely have childcare is obviously something that might be more of a challenge with kids being off school. So now I literally don't have as much time to train, and I genuinely don't have as much time to train. So I'm going to move it from 3 a week as a target to 2 a week as a target. And I might add in a little home workout to make up that third. And that's what we want to do, is readjust our non-negotiables and set ourselves some targets that do stretch us and don't give us a free pass to let ourselves off, but give us some leeway when there's genuine reasons why we can't stick to it. The next one as well is going to be prepared to be flexible, and that's where that reevaluation every week typically is. I mean, a Sunday is typically when we're having a bit of a quieter day, I suppose. So Sunday evening, can we look ahead at the week ahead and think, right, okay, well, what have I got coming on this week? Now, this might be the week where you're going to go to Centre Parks for 4 days and spend three grand on a 4-day Centre Park trip. But if that's going to be coming up next week, then I need to readjust my targets, don't I? Maybe I can't get in the gym at all. So I'm going to have to think, well, I'm going to be really active when I'm at Centre Parks. We're going to go on loads of walks and bike rides and go swimming and all this kind of stuff. So activity-wise, I might not do any specific training in the gym, but I know I'm going to be keeping my activity levels up through just the fun stuff we're doing with family. So exercise is kind of covered. It's not ideal, but it's kind of covered. So now my focus needs to be on nutrition. So how am I going to handle that? Am I going to be eating out loads? Okay, what am I going to do when I'm there? Am I going to set some rules around food? I mean, I don't get a starter, main, dessert, and 5 drinks. I just get a starter and a main, or I just get a main and a dessert, or I just get a main. Whatever it may be, you decide on these rules, but you set them at the time when they're going to be coming up. So we're basing them on what's actually happening to us, rather than just setting loads of rules around and then expecting to run that for the full 6 weeks when our challenges and our schedule is going to change. So be willing to be flexible. At the same time, also as well, you might look at your 6 weeks and it might vary quite a bit. So when you're away on holiday, on a trip away, whatever it might be, you can't get in the gym as much. So then you might look at the next week and think, okay, well, we're back. We're in week 4 of the summer holidays. We're in a bit of more of a routine now. Okay, well, that week I'm going to push. This week I'm going to push. Can I get in 4 times this week? Can I really try and build some momentum and take it to that next level and bank some extra sessions in after I've just had a really busy period where I've recharged and refreshed and had amazing time with the family? Can I now get back and kick on and go really strong this week? So being flexible is another thing that we want to do to kind of fix that challenge around us. Food wise as well, looking into a little bit more into that. So what we're going to be doing is thinking of how can we make sure that we are enjoying it, but at the same time we need to recognize that eating everything in sight that we want to eat and drink is probably not going to be helpful for us in our fat loss goal or to feel like we're in control of our weight. So what we want to do is a good thing that I heard, I think it was on Bake Off, and it was Mary Berry was saying, is it worth the calorie? It might have been Prue, who knows, but it was something like that. And it was, is it worth the calories? So if you're going to be having some food, you're going to a barbecue, whatever it may be, when you're picking your food, make sure that you're picking something that you're really going to enjoy and you're having it for that enjoyment's sake. You're not just having it because it's there. And if we eat something because it's there, we don't really enjoy it too much. We also afterwards quite very quickly kind of feel like, oh, like I wish I hadn't had that. And then it doesn't really serve the same purpose. Whereas if I go out for food on an evening and I have a Parmo because that's something I really, really want. And I think to me that's worth my calories. The next day I can think, okay, I've had that amazing food. I really, really enjoyed it. And I kind of feel refreshed and recharged. So if we have the things that are worth the calories and we enjoy them, but we're conscious of not overdoing it just for the sake of overdoing it, that's going to be a real hack for managing the summer social events and all the food that goes around with it. Also, as well, recognize that rubbish food doesn't have to be that default. So we talked a little bit earlier about that culture around when we've got social events, the default is to just eat loads of stuff. And oftentimes it can be habit or just that we're there in the moment. So try and be a bit more conscious and a bit more aware of what you're doing. And again, having a clear goal, having a clear plan in terms of what you're doing in the gym, in terms of nutrition, in terms of what you're trying to work towards is such a good way to avoid just that default automatic junk food eating, because we're just being a bit more conscious and we want to almost stop before we have something to eat. Just think, hey, do I really want this? Am I really hungry? Is this worth the calories? And is it worth the offset of potentially some of my progress for this week in terms of fat loss? And by being a bit more deliberate about everything that we're doing, we can make sure that we can almost certainly get much better results without it feeling like a lot of hard work. We're actually just going to cut out the stuff that we weren't really going to enjoy anyway. And that's a really good way to think about it. So be more deliberate with the foods that you're having and the drinks that you're having. And if you want to have them and they're going to be worth the calories for you, do it and enjoy it. And then the next day, you're back in that routine and you're back into the rhythm and you can go back on plan feeling refreshed and recharged. The next one to think about is, again, in terms of the food, is another way to think about this to help us make those decisions, is to look at beyond that initial the first order consequence I heard described to me by a mentor, and look at the first order consequence of going to a barbecue and have a big plate full of food is that it tastes really nice and it's enjoyable. And that's a big challenge with dieting, is that we are avoiding something that we enjoy. And a lot of times a lot of people struggle with the weight because they just really enjoy food and they get a lot of reward from having nice food. But what I want to do is try and be conscious of the second and third order and fourth order consequence of that. So if I go to that barbecue and have that big plate of food, I feel great for that 20 minutes when I'm having it, and it's nice and it's amazing. But then a couple of hours later, I'm probably getting a bit of an energy crash. I'm feeling sluggish. I'm feeling lethargic. And then that's when I might drop into eating some more junk, because I get home from the barbecue. I feel like I'm having some tea, and I can't be bothered to cook anything because I'm still feeling a bit sluggish and low energy and a bit of an energy crash. So I'll grab something that's quick and easy for me, probably not going to be the best for me in terms of trying to improve my health and my fitness. So then I end up eating rubbish on the evening. The next consequence of that is that I wake up the next day and I've gained a few pounds. And again, a few pounds of weight gain after you're eating out is probably just normal. It's probably just the general flow of things. There's going to be more salt in things. There's more carby stuff that generally eat in. We might just have heavier meals that's not gone through our digestive system yet. So we might just need to go to the loo. There's lots of things that can affect that. And a couple of pounds up after going out for food probably isn't anything to be concerned about. But if you know that you've kind of overdone it, then that £2 gain on the scales has a bigger impact on your mood and your day. So now I'm going into the next day feeling pretty low, feeling a bit guilty, feeling like, oh, why have I done that? So then I eat rubbish again. And then I was meant to go to the gym on the night, but now all of a sudden my energy is really, really low. I'm feeling really, really down on myself. And the idea of me dragging myself to the gym when I'm feeling pretty down is very, very hard. And it's going to be harder for me to get that over the line. So I skipped the gym that night. And then the next day, I feel guilty for not going to the gym. So I eat more rubbish, and it cycles on like that. So you want to be looking at, if I'm going to do something, what's going to be the second or third order consequence of that? And how is it going to downstream affect the evening, the next morning, the next day, the next 2 or 3 days? Because it's not necessarily having a plate full of food at the barbecue that's the big issue. It's the plate full of food at the barbecue that's a big issue, when it means that the next 2 or 3 days is really inefficient. We're not getting in the gym. We're not exercising. We're eating more rubbish than we would normally eat. We're also eating more of what we would normally eat. So we're now going to be more calories. And ultimately, what we're getting to the point of is we've turned one event into a spiral of negativity, and it's really going to have a big impact on us. So that's what we want to do as a bit of a mindset shift around food. And we touched on that a little bit earlier, but can we make that decision in advance when we're going to these social events? So it's I'm going to get a main and a dessert, and I'm going to get Diet Cokes to drink. So I'm going to keep the calories low, but I'm still going to really enjoy it. If I'm going out to the barbecue, can I get that protein first mindset? And can I skip the crisps and the nachos and the dips, that kind of stuff, which is just going to be really, really easy for me to eat hundreds and hundreds of calories of it. And it's not really going to fill me. And ultimately, it's going to probably mean that it could have been still being a decent meal, ends up being a bit of a blowout. And then I know I'm going to feel like lethargic and sluggish past that point. So they're going to be more the tactile things that you can do to kind of handle these social events in terms of food and exercise, and stay on track over summer without it just becoming a total write-off. And the bigger picture behind this in terms of your long-term results is that there's always going to be something coming up. So right now we've got the summer holidays. Guess what's coming up in September? All the kids are going back to school. So now we've got, well, I'll wait until the kids are bedded into the new school year. They're back into the rhythm. They're back into the routine. Then also we've got Halloween coming, which I know it's not that big in the UK, but we've got sweets all around. Every time we go to the supermarket, the aisles are chock full of the treat-sized snacks and chocolates and sweets. Then we've got coming up, once we get past into November, we're thinking about Christmas parties. Well, I've got all the Christmas parties coming up at the end of November or December. What's the point of starting now? Then I've got Christmas and New Year itself. I've got that Christmas, Boxing Day lull between New Year's Eve and Christmas time, which is when I'm going to go wild. I've got tubs of roses and celebrations around the house. Got loads of chocolates being gifted to me, loads of alcohol around the house. So that's going to be a bit of a write-off as well. And then also in January and February, it's really cold and dark on a morning, and I just don't feel like getting to train on the morning. So you can see there's always something that's going to be coming up. And if you want to get great results, you can do that independently of what time of year that is. There will be people who are starting now, and there's a couple of people who've started with me already over the last couple of weeks who, even though they've got holidays coming up, decided that they didn't want to wait, and they're making really good progress. They're hitting that target weight before their holidays, and feeling amazing for it, rather than waiting until afterwards. So if you're always going to be waiting for the perfect time, it's never going to come. And also as well, that's all these things I just described there, that's life. Summer, Christmas, birthdays, dark nights, early mornings, all these things are all going to be things that are just life's challenges that are thrown at you. And if you can't navigate those, you're never going to feel in control of your weight. Because even if you do wait for that perfect, let's say April's a quiet month for you, and you get some good April, what happens in May, June, July, and the rest of the months? You're living on borrowed time because you don't have a way to manage the social events, the work stress, when life gets busy, all these kind of things. And the good weeks just aren't enough. If you're waiting for the good weeks to make progress and you just write off the bad weeks or the tough weeks, then you're never going to keep those results long term. And that's really the skill. It's the skill in terms of losing weight and keeping it off is, how do I navigate these difficult windows? Because anyone can do well at the start of a program. Anyone can do well at the start of a diet or starting in the gym, or when life's really easy for us. The challenge comes when you're feeling pretty low, your mood's low, your sleep's bad, you're a bit under the weather maybe. How do I then stick in that for that week and get some good results? Now, it's not a case of saying you've just got to push harder, you've just got to push harder, you've just got to go beast mode and push on forever. But it is a case of saying, okay, well, I do need to do something. I can't go too far away from what I was originally doing. And that's what's going to separate you at this time of your at this time in summer 2026 to being a completely different person in 2027, by being able to navigate these challenges that are coming up, and they are going to be coming up. And ultimately, once you can do that, you can lose weight and make fantastic progress, but you can also feel really proud and also feel really secure in that you're not living in borrowed time because you've done a crazy crash diet and life's been really easy for you. You have been able to master the biggest challenges that used to derail you, and feeling that and feeling capable and confident in that is going to be amazing. You're going to feel great. And that's ultimately where I work with to get people to, who work with me, who come on board, who've had many attempts at losing weight, and even if they've got some results, they've not been able to keep them. And when people come to me like that, one of the things that is often the biggest challenge we've got to get through is helping them navigate these challenging weeks that are coming up. Because if you can't do that, then you're never going to keep the results long term. And that's where coaching really, I think, pays off and really comes into it. So hopefully this episode is really helpful for you. If you're that parent whose kids are now off and you're thinking summer's going to be a bit of a write-off, or if you're just someone who is looking at that summer holiday in 2 or 3 weeks' time and thinking, oh, what's the point of starting now? Hopefully this was a really good episode for you and something that'll help you avoid that summer spiral, avoid summer just becoming a complete write-off for you, and get into September when the kids are back to school and the sunny, glorious sunny weather's gone, feeling way heavier, way unhealthier, and feeling pretty annoyed at yourself for letting yourself go over summer. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all those good things. And then also as well, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about me, the best way to do that is you can follow me on Instagram, so at Lester Kitching. Another great way is, if you want to learn a little bit more, is to request a free copy of my book. So you can buy it on Amazon if you want. It's called Fat Loss for the Real World. You can buy it off Amazon and get it to you very quickly, or you can request a free digital copy. If you go to lesterkitchen.com/free, you can get a free digital copy. All you need to do is enter your info. The AI magic behind the scenes will send you a digital copy, which you can read on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, whatever it is. And you can get the full book for you. And it's something that's gone down really well. It's been really helpful for a lot of people. And ultimately, if you are that serial dieter who is stop-start, who has an all or nothing mindset, and who can't be consistent in the gym or stick to the diet, this book is going to really help you out. It's got the strategies that I use with clients to make sure that the diet doesn't feel like a diet and it gets us results. That means that exercise is something we can actually stick to and actually enjoy. And then finally, we were able to manage these lifestyle and this mindset challenges that come up when life gets really busy. So if that's something you're interested in, lesterkitchen.com/free to get your free copy of my book. Have an amazing time. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next episode.